For sure.
Hello and welcome back to the Energetics Podcast. I'm your host, Bunde-Dunn, and today we're doing something in person. So if you're watching on YouTube, lucky you, I have my dear friend in the home studio with me today, and we're talking about all things mediumship and channeling and all sorts of things. So my dear friend, Brandy, welcome to the podcast.
Yay! Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
I know, it's so awesome. So I have to say, how we found each other. You originally lived in New Orleans. You moved to Lincoln, Nebraska, where I live, and you were doing a gallery style reading out at a winery. And a few of my friends went to your reading. They were like, okay, this girl reads and channels a lot like you. I think you would like her. You should reach out to her. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, do you know her? And she's like, no, I just attended your thing and it was cool. So like, just reach out to her. So I was like, okay, fine. And I slid into your DMs. And I was like, hi, I'm Kara. You don't know me, but I'm a medium and I live in Lincoln too, and we should be friends.
For sure.
And that's kind of how it rolled. And then we went to coffee and, we've been fast friends ever since.
Yes, absolutely. We talk about synchronicity. It was definitely your friends who were like, you've got to meet her. But when we got together, just everything kind of made sense.
Yeah, and we talked for hours.
Yeah, we have so many things in common.
Yeah.
And, we're on a spiritual journey doing some similar things, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's hard to have friends that are in this business, but we are like, yes.
Yeah, we root for each other.
We for sure root for each other.
Yeah, which is awesome. So one of the things I thought was so cool was your origin story was not that different from mine in terms of like how your abilities awakened and like what happened. So I know this is something I usually start with people, but I really think it's such a beautiful way for us to start. It's just sharing like, how did your mediumship abilities like awaken within you? Like what happened to make you be able to like talk to dead people?
Oh my God, talk to dead people, right? I would say it has been a lifetime of unveiling, but there were definite significant events that led me to understand that this is what it is.
Yeah.
So I grew up in New Orleans, as you know. I grew up Catholic, but from a very young age, I'm like, I don't know if this is for me. I did like some of it, which I still use in my practice to this very day. I was just doing a healing and I called in Jesus and Mother Mary. But I also love other ascended masters. So growing up, I was always a seeker and I was always not sure exactly what I wanted to do, but knew I wanted to help people. And I was always seeking for my purpose. Like, what is my purpose?
Totally.
And my mom's family was very into signs and symbols from a very young age. Lo and behold, when she found out I was medium, like that blew the lid out of the water. Like we didn't know. We had no idea. But just like you, I grew up sensitive.
Yes.
And we didn't have those words back then. Empath, sensitive. But we're feelers, we pick up on energy, and that caused a lot of issues.
Right.
And so, as I came into my 20s and 30s, I was still seeking. And I was in corporate America. I was not happy. And I started praying, and I was doing these walks every day at lunchtime, downtown New Orleans. It's a little crazy. I was working right across from the Superdome, and I would just walk and say, God, I don't know why I'm here. If I can't help myself, use me as a vessel to help others. And it kind of became my mantra.
Mm-hmm.
And within a 3-month period of kind of making this mantra, many things happened. So one, I found this beautiful metaphysical center that offered...
And this is in New Orleans.
This is in New Orleans, in like Metro New Orleans, where I found this center, which is just like the outskirts of New Orleans, right? And a lot of New Orleans is heavy and dark, voodoo, hoodoo, which is not all heavy and dark, but like a lot of the shops and stuff.
I would say our listeners are probably like, oh, you mean like voodoo dolls and all the craziest and like drunk people reading tarot cards on the streets? And you're like, yeah, I mean, all of that's there.
So there's always that. And there's always this like stigma of mediums and psychics and, ooh, the mystery. And it's a little scary, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're grown. The stigma of it.
Yes,
what mainstream society believes is like this dark, scary kind of evil thing. And it's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
It has completely, and I'll get back to my story a little bit, but it has completely reconnected me to my God, my creator. Some people call it source energy or divine energy,
Yes.
or even in Mother Earth. We have different terms for it. I have not felt closer to God, to my highest self, to that connection within us, right? And that flow, like our lives have just, it doesn't make it easier. It kind of does. It makes it flow better.
Yeah, it's like it helps me process better.
It helps for sure when we
like
know
when
what
I have
it
that.
is.
Yeah, when I know what's going on and I have that like curiosity piece, then I'm like, okay, I'm having like a crazy anger or emotional reaction or sensitivity, but I understand this is like part of who I am. Like like I get curious. Why is this happening? What am I supposed to be doing? Before I used to just be like, my feelings are hurt. Yeah.
Big emotions.
Exactly.
So during this 3-month period, I found a center and they taught numerology, astrology, color therapy, psychic ability, mediumship. Not in a million years did I think I was psychic or medium. Like that was the last thing on my mind. And within this 3-month period, I had 8 people pass. And
crazy.
It's crazy. I was with them some tragic way. I was able to help them transition, knowing that they were passing through cancer or some kind of illness, or I was able to help their family in some type of beautiful way.
Yeah.
And not fully understanding.
So can you give an example of like how you were helpful and not even really quite realizing, but you were being a vessel or a channel without even knowing it? Because I think that happens for people all the time.
All the
they
time.
are the sign, they are the message, and they don't even know it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, this is kind of a long story, so I'll try to shorten it. Ultimately, my son was going to school at one place. I was trying to get him into a charter school. He was going to Catholic school. I was trying to get him into a charter school closer to where we moved. It didn't work out, and he ended up in another Catholic school. It's a smaller school, and in the first school that he went to, I was highly encouraging him to go, like, why don't you try out Boy Scouts? Because he didn't have a father. He had my dad, who was and still is a father figure.
Yeah.
But I just wanted him to be
another
around
mentor.
some more mentors, male role models. And he was young, and he wanted nothing to do with it at that school. Well, the first week we go to this new school and he's like, I want to join Boy Scouts. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Sure. And so the
has to be their idea.
Yes. So the first meeting, I'm the only mom there. There's one other dad there and he's sitting up against the wall. And I just started talking to him. And it was the type of person that is just such a family man and such a talker that I learned about his entire family, mom and them, where they went to school, what they do for work. Yeah. And he just exuded love about his family. And so we had a great connection. And a few weeks later, actually probably 3 or 4 weeks later, we went on our first camping trip. And so that's really the only person I knew. And my son became friends with his son. And so there was about 100 people on the trip, but in our little, I don't even know what it's called, troop.
Yeah, sure. Troop.
Big troop, little, whatever. You get it. We had about maybe 10 kids in the group. And so my mom came along and she got to know this guy and we were always around him on this trip. Okay. I hadn't met his wife yet. I just knew him and his son. And so the second day we're sitting around the fire pit. We're eating lunch. We're actually eating hot dogs and we're talking to him, just sharing stories. And at this point in time, I was getting a lot of spiritual images in every picture I took.
Oh, yeah. In the actual picture.
In the actual picture.
And were you like, what in the heck is going on?
It was exciting to me.
But you were going to the spiritual center.
I was going to the spiritual center.
So it was like, okay, something's happening.
Something's happening. I didn't know what, but every time I would like, Mom, look, you know, like this is cool.
There's an orb, there's an image. There's
and mind you, I'm in my 30s now. Like I'm 33-ish. And so the smoke is going up around the fire pit and the sun is coming down through the trees. We're in Mississippi, like in this wooded area. And my mom's like, Brandy, get your camera out because that looks like just out of the naked eye, a spiritual setting.
Yeah.
And so we're talking to him, we're talking about what it looks like, and I'm taking pictures. Well, we go on a hike, we come back, long story short, he sits down and dies.
And this is the craziest part of the story when you told me this. You're like, he literally like dies out in the woods.
He comes back, we go on a hike. He was mid-50s, beautiful skin. We even commented on how like beautiful black eye, like just his skin was gorgeous, you know, and he looked like he was in shape.
Yeah, nothing would tell you he's
nothing
sick
at
or...
all would tell you he was sick. And we go on this hike, and he is kind of laughing, saying, "Oh man, I'm so out of shape," and we're like, "No, you're not." Yeah, like no, you're not. And so we come back, and he just sits right outside of his tent, and then just goes. So like he had a widowmaker, massive heart attack. We had doctors there that were parents.
Yeah,
we got to him right away. We got the kids away. So they, you know, and he never recovered. And so we're just all stunned. We still now have another night with the kids. We can't tell them. We're just like, pray, you know, he had to go to the hospital. We didn't say, you know. Yeah. So we are now back around the fire pit, and we're all in a daze, and I'm looking at the pictures, and I'm like, oh my God, Mom, look at this. And she's like, you need to send that to his wife. You need to find a way to get it to his wife. So back to that fire pit, it looks like there is an angel coming through and a huge heart in the center of it.
Oh my gosh.
So get it to his wife. I don't meet her until a week later, where they're doing a rosary service. And I go up to her, and I just said, I just want you to know about your husband's last 2 days. It was like he was in God's country. He was having so much fun with his son. And she goes, are you the one who took that picture? And I said, I am. And so she said, would you come over? I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you're like, okay, sure, yeah. Whatever you need.
Whatever. So she brings me into her house, and it's like a long hallway, and then it opens it up to this big living room. And we go down, and then she, you know, it opens up, and she points. She had that picture blown up poster size and framed. And she points to it. She's like, I know where that man is, and it's because of you. You're my angel.
Oh.
And I'm like, like, what? And she just told me a story how it helped her son get through, like what he had shared. And to this day, we are the bestest of friends.
That's really cool.
The bestest.
Yeah, you can say that.
The bestest. We are just such great friends. And it really, so, you know, at that moment, I had this conversation with God. I was like, you know, I had all of these people passing, and yes, that's beautiful, but now I feel like the Death Reaper.
Yeah, you're like, every time I come around somebody, like,
and I was like trying to stay away, and I was just like, God, remember when I was like, use me as a vessel of your love? Like, this isn't it.
You're like, try again.
Definitely not it.
This is probably a step on my road, but, you know.
Delete.
Yeah, can we please go another way?
Let's
do another way up the mountain.
And as you know, we can try to navigate as much as we want, but if it's the path we need to go on, we're going to go on it.
Yeah, one way or another, it will show up again and again until you get to where you're supposed to go.
Yes.
Like, which is something I talk about with people all the time. Like, that lesson will keep showing up.
Absolutely.
For you until you kind of figure out what your path is supposed to be. Yeah.
So I started taking classes and learned very quickly that what I'm experiencing and what has caused many issues like anxiety and depression and panic attacks and things like that was Spirit trying to get my attention.
Yeah.
And I had no idea.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of me just learning and making that connection with Spirit and forming my own language with them.
Yeah.
And
so you're in New Orleans, you're doing that. And then how do you start going from studying and learning to practicing? What did that look like to you for like going from one to the other? Because for me, it was the same, like self-study, little assignments, little things they had me do. But I was never, at first, I never thought this is what I would do for a living. Like, it was just like this cool thing that I had the ability to do when I wanted to, you know?
Right. I very quickly, I feel like I've lived a million lives in this one life.
You kind of have.
Yeah. And so when this came along and when I really got into it, I had one mentor for a long time in New Orleans. He's beautiful, amazing. His name is Sid Patrick, and he really was the catalyst for helping me. And so I was doing my work with spirit because you have to, but I also had a guide.
Yeah.
And then I started taking from people all over the world. So it wasn't all self-study, but I definitely had to do my part self-study.
Yeah.
And going into actually doing readings, it's nerve-wracking.
I know, because you don't want to get it wrong, and you're like,
that is the thing.
And that's like the worst thing to do, is to like clam up, you know what I mean, instead of just being so open and letting it flow. But
with this work, you really have to put all of your trust in spirit.
You do.
And not care if you're right or wrong, because they're giving you this information for a reason.
Exactly.
And you just need to go with it.
100%.
You may not, like, even if you have someone, we used to do blindfolded readings, and the person would just tap us if we were right or wrong. And we didn't have any feedback. So
it'd just be like, this is what's coming into my awareness.
So it was just like a full flow.
Yeah.
So you learn to just say it.
Yeah.
You learn to just trust it and say it. And then when it came, and okay, by the way, I didn't know I was psychic until years later, which is hilarious because like it's in the same territory, right?
Yeah.
It's different, but it's in the same territory.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that a little. Like, what's the difference between a medium and a psychic?
Oh, absolutely.
And how we can go in and out of both. Really.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is a difference. And a lot of people, that book, they don't know the difference.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, most people don't. And why would you?
No.
You're like, I don't know. You're
if
a psychic,
you're
medium, whatever. I don't know. What are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really, once I dove into it, I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Because right away, I saw the effects that it had on me and that it had on others in my life. And then those that I gave readings to.
Yeah.
It was a profound difference.
It is really special, isn't it? Like what our abilities and what they can do to help someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like for real, that is like why I do what I do.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not always easy being a medium.
No.
Like, like you and I have very sensitive bodies.
Oh my God.
So like, I'll feel really all the things days before readings, even when I don't want to, and you do too. Yours is more than mine.
It is,
but like
extra.
It is not for the faint of heart. Like you can't just live a regular life, if you will. There's stuff that we
pretend that we do.
Well, you kind of do. You like 3/4.
You definitely have to, because everyone else is, not everyone, but like a lot of people are living in the 3-day.
Yes,
and we are living in both. Right?
Yes, exactly.
And so a lot of times it's very hard to know the difference between our own feelings and spirit. Especially if we don't have anyone that's been booked, or we don't have a session for a while.
What is going on?
Yeah. Why am I feeling these things? And so that has been such a learning process. But once I came into this and I looked back, I realized that all of those other things that I did for work or in my life as a hobby were for this, to prep me for this.
Right.
And so it's really beautiful looking back. But yeah, when I started prepping for like the stage work, platform mediumship, that's where you go in front of a big group.
Yeah, like a gallery style reading.
Gallery. Yeah, people call it different things for sure. That's a whole different level, but I used to be an actress. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, and I wasn't that good. I mean, it wasn't that great, but it gave me the confidence to be in front of people and speak.
So were you in the Hollywood world before your abilities awakened, or after? Or both?
Both.
Interesting.
Both.
Okay, so this is kind of a cool fun fact about you. Like most people will be like, you what? Because like you live in Lincoln, Nebraska now, so people don't like meet celebrity actress peeps or the people that know celebrities very often or that kind of a thing. So what is it like being in Hollywood in particular, which is not known to be the most, like, I would say whole-centered, others-directed, like loving, service-oriented culture. It's not really like that for a lot of parts of the scenes there, Yeah. So how is that like for you, working in a bit of a cutthroat industry, a bit of a competitive industry, and then like have it before the abilities and after the abilities? Did you notice anything different in your work?
I noticed that if I was auditioning, I started not to care. Like I learned through the tools of mediumship and connection to just trust and to quiet that.
Surrender and trust.
Surrender, quiet that monkey mind. So we talk about the monkey mind, that mind that just doesn't stop. You can't have that in mediumship. Like you have to learn to go within, go up, and just be completely still and silent.
Yes.
And so it's so beneficial in so many different parts of life. When it comes to actually on sets, I had some fun things happen on set.
Do you have any juicy stories? Give us one.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about juicy, but I think this is kind of a fun one.
Yeah, fun. Give me a fun story. Yeah.
I mean, it's very basic, but it's fun. So I worked with Tom Cruise for about a 4-month, like daily period on a film called Jack Reacher. By the way, he's amazing. Yeah. Everything that we hear about him, or everything I knew without meeting him, it's like doom and gloom. It's like, there's just a lot of negativity out there, which people are multifaceted.
Exactly.
So maybe he is like that, but my experience with him was absolutely wonderful. By far the best actor I've ever worked with.
That's
like
really
the
cool.
kindest, most encouraging, fun-loving, hardest working. He will encourage you to do all of your own stuff, like if you are that. And so I was his leading lady's body double and stand-in, but he did a lot of his own.
So you
work,
would do
so it was me and him.
The stunt scenes or whatever. How did you learn to be a body double? Or is it more like stand-in when he's doing something like you would be there? What does that mean?
Okay.
Like body double stand-in.
So body double and stunt double are different things. So I didn't do like the crazy flips and stuff, but I did do a lot of the running. If there was an explosion, I'd run and hide, like things like that.
Yeah.
And so that is if they need the main actress for another scene they're filming elsewhere, they would use me.
And you're like, look close enough to whoever it might be that you can like similar
size.
Profiles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I did another scene in a prison where I was like kind of beating something, which was fun. But as a stand-in, you are right there with the actors, the producers, the director. Yes. You are setting the scene. You are the person that they're setting the lighting and cameras to. And so in those moments.
So you probably work a lot, actually. Yeah. Probably like more than the actor.
Yeah. So, but then I also had some speaking parts, very few. I did a lot of theater. I'm much better at theater than film. This phase, I'm like, I've got way too much of this going on. I know. So,
love it.
But it was really, really fun. And the first day that I met him, it was on a green screen, and me and his double were sitting in a car prepping, waiting, and we're getting to know each other. And I was just like being stupid. Like I'm silly,
I love that.
And I told, his name was Connor, and he's a sweetheart too. And I was like, I'm not getting out of this car until Tom comes, opens the door and shakes my hand and helps me out. Like just,
just being silly.
And right after I said that, and Tom wasn't anywhere around, like not even 2 minutes, he walks up, opens the door. Hey, I'm Tom, and like helps me out of the car. I was like,
and you're like, oh, I'm like a freaking manifesting queen.
And Connor's looking at me like, you've got to be kidding me. So, but that film, it was the longest one that I worked consistently on. And Tom Cruise was consistent the whole time.
Yeah.
For everyone. Like if you ask anyone on that set in particular, Jack Reacher, never go back, check it out, a minute. And I was Kobe Smolder's double. So I'll look like her in it. But he was amazing.
Yeah.
Like actually, I've said this, one of the best humans I've ever met. So I don't know what to think about that.
Don't you think that's kind of true just in general too? Like how you treat one person is how you treat everyone, and how you are here is how you are there,
Mm-hmm.
And I think people oftentimes have facades of like, this is my work personality. Yeah. This is who I am around my friends. This is who I am around my family.
They wear like different hats.
Yeah. And I think like it's when you're on a spiritual journey in particular, learning how to bridge those things together to be like, this is just who I am.
Yeah.
Is such a powerful thing. And honestly, it's hard. It is hard because like you want to be liked, you want to be accepted, you don't want to be fired from your job if you're too like crazy or woo or whatever. But generally speaking, the most powerful thing you can do is just authentically be who you are. And so it's really cool that you got to see that person, like when the cameras were rolling and when they were not, that this person just held to their integrity the whole time,
And to the person, like taking out the garbage
right.
all the way up.
Yeah.
And he would remember things like, hey, Brandy, how was your weekend? And he would talk about my son and my family. Like, did you guys end up going here? He would remember details. And it wasn't just with me.
Right.
So it's like I'm not the special one. You know, he's just across the board was like that. And so I know a lot of people talk smack, but I've got to say I had such a beautiful experience.
That's awesome.
And then compared to like before I realized my gifts, God, I was in just such a different state of mind.
A different season of your life.
A totally different season of my life, being on set. Like by the time that I came into my gifts, I was working in corporate America. I was doing something different and then jumping on set here and there.
Yeah, I see.
So it was different from when I was full-time, because that was before I had my child. He's 19 now. I'm like, come on. Like, and I'm an old lady.
Yeah. No, you're not.
No. Spring chicken.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting to know that world. And again, like these life experiences and feeling like I've lived so many different lives. It's because I have so many different walks of life as clients. And I can say, I can empathize with that. Yeah. I understand that. I mean,
and
clearly not for everyone.
And don't you think it's like that a little bit? Like when spirit is helping, like put the right people with the right mediums and things like that. Like I can't tell you how often I get people that have never been to a medium before, who are in these like corporate career jobs and are like in this place of like uncertainty. And I'm like, oh girl, you came to the right lady. I can help you. Or like, you know, like this Rebecca Rosen, who I went to originally, she has in her family a lot of death by suicide. And so she tends to get people coming into her world that have been affected by suicide in one shape or form, because she has so much personal lived experience. And I do think spirit is like that. They take our challenges or the things that we've overcome and they allow us to be like an example or a teacher and helping people, because we understand like at a deep soul level what they're going through. So that's always the case.
I've got something to say about that. Like, spirit, cut that shit out. Like, I've experienced... I'm done with those types of experiences. Like, just give me the knowledge at this point. Yeah. It's like,
do you find that different types of people find their way to you? Like, is there a theme? And granted, obviously you and I, we both can help anybody. Sure. We can serve, like anyone could get a reading from you or me. And like, you know, it's not like you can't read for certain people, but do you notice that people find their way to you with certain types of challenges?
Oh my God, absolutely. And a lot of times, like, I will have just gone through it. So I had dealt with so we are empaths. We deal a lot with narcissists, and we have to learn that lesson. And energy vampires, and we have to learn how to recognize them right away as to not go down that route again.
Yeah.
And so I had a very severe, experience with a narcissistic partner. And as I was healing, I wasn't even, I didn't even come up for air, and I started getting clients that were going through the exact same thing.
You're like, oh, interesting.
And I was like, oh!
Yeah, I know. So when that happens for me,
I recognize that. Here's the thing,
here's the lesson.
Even when I was not fully up for air, I had the tools, and I knew how to say, hey, these are the things you need to recognize within yourself and within the other. Yeah. And here are some tools that you can do to move forward. Yeah. Whether you want to leave or not, or, X, Y, Z, right?
Yeah. So sometimes I'll have either just learned or am also in the process of learning something that they're channeling through, and they'll show it to me like an equal symbol in my top right eye. Like it'll be like equal, like a parallel line. And that's their sign for me to be this is
pay attention.
Yeah. It's like, this is also for you, or it can also mean this is like what you went through, so that I can channel the message more clearly. Because it's not like, for me, it's not like I get full sentences in my ear the whole time I'm channeling. I'm getting images, feelings, sensations, this, that. And we have to make it into to story form. We've got to communicate it in sentences.
We are the vessels.
Yes. And so when they're flashing stuff for me, it's to help me communicate what they're channeling through me better.
Yes.
Like, you know, so that's, but again, like I'm pretty much self-taught. So like we've created our own sign language, you know, I'm like, cause when it'll happen for me, I'll be like, okay, you show me that. And then afterwards, when I'm processing with my guides, I'll say like, does that sign mean this or does it mean that? And like, and we're working through and building my like repertoire of signs, if you will.
Which is, to me, you're an inspiration, because without having mentors, I know that I did a lot of the work on my own as well.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Come on in, girl. We're sharing a footstool.
Sharing is caring. You fully went straight to spirit.
I did, but I also like read a lot of books. And so I did a lot of self-study in that way. And then I would see something in a book and I would try it. And like, does this work or does that work? Or whatever it would be. But I didn't go to like a metaphysical school or a, you know, like a year-long mentorship program or like things like that. And I find now, like I go to those and I'm like 5 years into the journey. And I'll get little tweaks of things that help, but it's not like I'm like, oh, I was doing it all wrong. Like I really think this is just how it was meant to unfold for me.
Yeah. And honestly, that's so beautiful. When I've taken with people, I'm like a little kid. I'm like, I need to stop. I just realized we're on camera.
It's fine.
You know, you get little drops here and there of maybe one extra thing.
Yeah,
or
but it
two
can
extra
really help
things
a lot.
that you incorporate into what you're already doing.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So do you have like, for me, it's like flashcards, like little symbols, or they'll show me like a little bit of like what I would define as like a movie clip, like a little bit of like they're showing me like a car moving, or like, you know, like things like that.
Yeah.
Like, how does it work for you when you're getting messages from spirit or from their loved ones in spirit?
Okay. Do you?
Yeah.
I'm like feeling, as you're talking, I was like, actually, I'm feeling something.
Yeah.
So this will help explain.
Yeah, I am too, by the way. Like my whole chest is tingling right now.
Yeah. So immediately I'm a feeler. It's called clairsentience. We have clairs that just is our extra senses.
That's right.
Right? So clairvoyant is clear seeing. Clairsentient, clair is clear in French. That's what that means.
And I always say, you don't have to know what they are. Just say clear seeing, clear knowing, clear feeling, clear hearing. Like you don't have to complicate it.
No, you don't have to complicate it. All you have to know is that all of our senses are heightened.
That's right.
And there's a word for all of those.
Yeah. Right? And the different senses have different heightens. And by the way, when you first telling your story, my left ear just was like, yeah. I was like, ooh, it was like when it was a part where you were like really diving into like your truth piece of it. And I was like, it was like validating your truth. Yeah.
So we've got that all the time, right? So initially I'll get a feeling. Right now I'm feeling like my whole body is really sick. And so for me, that is someone who went through cancer and cancer treatments. If they went through like chemoradiation, I'll generally taste like metallic in my mouth.
Oh, really?
So it kind of starts with that. And then I will feel whether it's a man or a woman. So, or they'll give me like, you know, I have a mother figure here. I don't feel like this lady was your mother, but you know, she's telling me.
They'll tell me mom adjacent is the phrase they give me. I like next to mom adjacent.
And so, you know, they'll tell me, you know, she was like your mother, like she definitely nurtured you and made you feel safe. But, you know, she was probably your neighbor, you know, kind of thing.
Right, like that. Yeah.
And she's telling me that she went through cancer treatments. So they'll make me feel things
that correlate to a message.
In the midst of that, there's a clear knowing. So
like the wisdom drops in.
The wisdom drops in. It's called claircognizance, clear knowing. So that's my other strong suit. And then they'll give me impressions. They'll drop in songs. So I'll get lyrics. Like I'm a human jukebox.
I'm the same. Like they'll be like, they're singing like Into the Unknown. I know. Like they're frozen. And I was like, okay, I got to tell them they need to go into the unknown. Yeah.
And it's so funny because I'll sing it out and I have to go, listen guys, I'm not a singer.
Yeah. But
honestly, I really am. It's just, I'm not a great singer and I love to sing.
Yeah. So you'll, whatever it comes through you.
I mean, I'm not going to sing the whole song, but I will, sometimes they'll give me the exact lyrics. Other times they make me work for it. Like I have to find the lyric. And so I'll give you a little bit of an example. I had a group recently, let's see. And I had, you know, I had grandmother, mom, because I had, it was family there. And all of a sudden, I'm trying to like find the song in my head as I'm doing this. Oh shoot. Oh my goodness. I can't find it.
Don't worry about it. Just
okay.
So song came in.
I love you, a bushel and a peck, a bushel and a peck. And they were like,
that song like
that
means something
song
to them.
had an exact meaning.
Yeah.
Because the grandmother used to sing it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes.
And that's like, you can't make that shit up. You know what I mean? Like that is like when they give you those details where it's not like, oh, it's your mom and she's saying I love you and whatever. Everyone's like, okay, yeah, great. Okay, lucky you, But when they give you a detail like that, I always ask for a couple of those in a reading so that they can know unequivocally it's for them.
Absolutely. Or like special memories.
Sometimes
they'll have me like look out their kitchen window and what do I see outside of their kitchen window kind of thing.
Oh,
which
interesting.
Is really neat.
Yeah.
But
I bet they were so moved by that.
Oh my goodness. They loved it.
Yeah.
And, but sometimes songs come through and I know it's more of a sign for me. So
I see. Yeah.
Like, y'all remember Outkast? Sorry, Miss Jackson, who I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times. So that means,
it's like, I'm sorry.
That means, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I have this old school one is like, Winchester Cathedral, but do you're bringing me down. You stood and just watched as my baby left town. That means so I have to feel into it. That either means they were divorced or they weren't there when the person passed, or there was some type of separation.
That's so crazy. Because like for me, like if they're divorced, they'll show me the together sign and separate it.
Yeah, which like honestly so much easier. But we all
Cancer. For me, they'll show me a circle that expands and spreads out. That's how I know it's Cancer. Like
they don't image. Make you sick,
but but I will feel discomfort where it started, and sometimes I get it wrong. Like I was like, oh, it's like, is it lungs? Is it chest? Is it like it's something in your upper respiratory? Like, so I'm like touching my boobs, and I'm like, is it breast cancer? Is it lung cancer? Is it like? And then they'll usually be like, ugh, and I'm like, were they smoker? Yeah, whatever.
Oh, if they had lung issues or smoke issues or had a feeding tube,
they will cut your breath off.
Cut me off so quick.
Yeah, after about a couple of years, I had to be like, okay, Spirit, here's the deal. Freaking stop doing it so intensely. And I was like, I'm being serious.
I know.
Do it because it helps me, but not so severely. You got to lighten up a little. And sometimes it's not my team. It's the loved one in spirit that's doing it. Yeah. So like you only have so much control. You know what I mean?
Sometimes it's their first time communicating.
Yeah, so they
have no idea. But it's funny you were talking about touching that.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm touching my boobs in your reading.
Yeah, when I get like breast cancer, I'll feel really sick, and then my boobs will feel like they're growing.
Oh my god!
And I was like, this is the best.
Oh, I'm like the opposite. I'm like, shrink these puppies down.
I'm like, oh, it's definitely here.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
So yeah, they actually every now and then I'll get pictures, but I'm not very clairvoyant.
Yeah.
So I
don't. Isn't that funny? So I'm like, they use imagery a lot for me because like that, like I always had a very vivid imagination as a kid and a very vivid storyteller. Like I could create scenarios and worlds
I can so see that
play outside. And I had all of this like pieces of wood that were our houses and our this and our that. And like I would play in the woods by myself and create a whole world by myself, So I think you use like, even whether you never want to be a medium or not, you just want to activate your intuition more. You should use the one that is most intuitive for you, the one that's most natural for you. And a lot of people think they need to be like clairvoyant, clear seeing. Like, and it's like, well, I want to see numbers. I want to see this. I want to see images when I meditate. I want to whatever. But if that's not your core primary listening language, like exactly. You're like trying to compare yourself to somebody who is naturally that way. It's like, use what's natural for you.
Right. And then you're also blocking it from coming in.
Yeah.
And when you're blocking it from coming in, then you're also blocking yourself from your development of having those pictures come in the future.
Exactly, right. Because I do notice like taste is my least significant one, but I'll notice, like I've noticed it happening lately. Like I'll taste chocolate cake in the middle of the night and then the next day I'll be like, oh my God, my grandma was visiting in my dreams. Like, it's, like
so
stuff
cool.
like that but I haven't, or like Smell, I don't have that one very vividly, but I did a rose meditation recently, and I felt the rose coming up to my face, and I smelled it, and I could smell fragrant roses. But that's not normal for me. But these because I'm so okay with the ones that are, the other ones are starting to awaken a little bit.
And as mediums, we will continue to learn and grow with our gifts, and they'll shift and change over time.
Yeah,
it's just like the nature
as everybody
of it.
will. Yeah, exactly.
Can I share with
share
your
anything.
Audience like a fun little game?
Share. Oh yeah, share it. Yes.
Okay, so
they're gonna be like, yes, teach me, wise one.
So, as you know, music is really, really big for me.
Yeah.
And it helped me through many, many of my emotions throughout my life. So, if I was upset, like really heavy, like, duh, to get that, you got to get those feelings out.
Yeah.
But you can also use your like Spotify playlist.
Yes.
To do readings for your friends. Okay.
Oh.
I know.
Okay, tell me more.
Okay. So you go to your Spotify playlist. And I should actually do it right now. You should like go to your Spotify playlist and just kind of allow it to kind of rotate.
Okay.
And then just stick your finger on one. You don't have to play it. If you need the lyrics, you could play it, or you could just look at what it says. So I don't know why Baby One More Time is like coming up for me. So whatever it says, you roll with it. So say you're reading a person or you're reading yourself, you connect to spirit, like set your intentions, right?
Yeah.
This is all about intention setting. Like I am going to use my playlist to give you a psychic reading. Okay. I know we're going into psychic right now, but it's all connected. So I get to Baby One More Time, and once you start talking, you've already set the intention, spirit's going to kind of come through. So Baby One More Time, like this is just an example, like I know that you wanted to have one more baby, but it's actually your baby is your business. And it looks like, and so as you're talking, you scroll to the next song and point, and then you go to the next words.
Whatever you
Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're kind of doing like music roulette and letting the lyrics be part of the message, and then whatever's intuitively flowing.
Absolutely. So the lyrics or the title of the song. So if you see the title, go with it. If a lyric pops out, then go with it.
Yeah. And
just start talking. When you get to like a stopping point, scroll again and point again.
So fun.
And just keep talking. And the more you do it, it's like a muscle.
Yeah. That's a really fun way to make it approachable. It's such a
fun, I love teaching psychic play, intuitive play, and that's one of the things that I do.
Yeah.
And people love it because it's fast paced, it's easy, you're out of your head.
That's right. And I think doing that and using music and whatever, you can overthink it, but you're less likely to because you're participating in it. And so you've like released that part of your like still quiet overthinking, can't quite be still and quiet.
And you would be so surprised how accurate it is, even if you think like you're not psychic or a medium at all, right?
But if you think about it, if you believe, like if A is B, like if you believe that there is a world that we cannot see, there is like energy and life and connection beyond what the 3D world eyes can and our 3D bodies can consume. So if that is true, which I believe is true, obviously I wouldn't do what I do if I didn't believe in other dimensions and all the things. So if you believe that is true, how can you not also believe you could be a vessel in some way, shape, or form? It doesn't mean you have to do it for a living, but it's like, if you believe it's possible that this is real, that there's something beyond our own 3D bodies, then isn't it possible that we're all kind of used as tools and gifts and signs and resources for people? So I think about it that way. It's not quite so pressureful then.
Right. I feel like we're all born with these abilities.
Yeah. I do too, by the way.
Yeah. So you're talking about, frequencies and energy, and we all believe in radio waves. We all believe in cell waves.
Yeah. Like Wi-Fi signals.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
All of this is energetic. We're made of cells and atoms and molecules, and we're vibrational beings.
That's right.
And we have these auras that are housed in these dense meat suits. That's what I call it. I'm wearing my meat suit today. But when our bodies expire, when they die, energy just changes form.
That's right.
It still carries our memories, our characteristics.
Can't be created or destroyed. It just changes form.
Yeah. And so when we're born into this world, we are born, these are my beliefs clearly, but I believe that our God, our creator, whatever you want to call your highest being, is unconditional love, and it's the highest frequency.
Yeah.
And if we're made in that frequency, we're also creators, and we're also, you know, still connected. We're not disconnected from that.
Absolutely. I say we all have a little bit of that spark within us to help us remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like the gift of coming down here into this mad, crazy world is our intuition, which is the same exact thing as psychic energy.
Yeah, psychic energy, intuition, gut instinct.
It is the same thing.
Yeah. I just know stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm so smart. Yeah.
Yeah. Cops all have an intuitive sense, right?
Yeah.
Doctors, emergency workers all talk about a gut instinct or an intuition.
Yeah.
That is the same thing as psychic energy, yet we're born with it, but we're taught not to trust ourselves.
100%. Yeah.
Whether it's the family we were brought into, society, religion, we are taught to trust others over those feelings inside.
And I actually think that's part of the process. Like, you're supposed to forget and then learn. Not everybody, but many of us are meant to forget and then go like, how do I come back home to myself? And in that journey is one of your karmic lessons of like how you remember or the way it comes in for you, whether it's like, I have to forgive this person, and then that's what opens up for you, or I have to stop worrying about what other people think of me to step into myself. Like, whatever those things are that help you like on your own journey, then you start like feeling like this spark of like, oh yes, that's me. Yes. That's me. That's the real me.
And getting back to
so I actually think some of it is like, you're not meant to remember forever, or most of us aren't meant to remember forever in this body, in this life.
Absolutely. And we can compare it to a child who is born with the gift of music or the ability to sit at a piano and just beautifully play.
Yeah.
You know, some mediums are born out of the gate with just fully connected, knowing the connection and all of that. And then others take practice. Even when they practice, they're still not good, you know? Yeah. But they can practice and have that connection. You know, same with like playing a piano. You can practice and be amazing.
You may not be a professional pianist on a stage, or it might just be like what you do for your own joy. Yeah. And this is no different.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I think too.
Yeah.
Like, I have exactly the same feeling about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you and I have been tossing around the idea of maybe doing something together.
Oh yeah.
I know. And so we keep talking about it, the timing and what should we do. And so like, I just love the way you show up and explain things and give such a gentle, like approachable energy about you. Yeah. So I don't know if we'll do it in person or online, but people should stay tuned because we are for sure going to do something. Yeah. Like, we've talked about it enough that there's no way we don't now. Don't you think?
We're in the planning stages and, you know,
so people should drop in and tell us, like, do you want like, do you want like psychic development stuff? Do you want to just come and receive and we just do readings and healings and meditations and energy clearing? Like, what do you want? Or you want a little bit, all of it? You tell us. Tell us what you want and we'll like deliver.
Yeah. And I feel, at least for me, it's all intertwined. So I'm an energy healer. I'm a psychic. I'm a medium. I'm a spiritual advisor. I'm a death doula. You know, I help people transition. But for me, it's symbiotic.
Yeah.
I hope I used that word right. Yeah. That was a big word for me.
Love it. Fitty center.
It just all feels like it flows together for me.
Well, it is all interconnected. It is like, I think it's all energy.
Yes.
It's all understanding and interpreting and shifting energy.
Yeah. And I love teaching. And I know you do too.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm a former teacher. Like, so my professional master's is in. So, you know, like tapping into my actual like education.
Okay. So here's another life. Look, I have a degree in deaf education.
Do you?
And deaf interpreting.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Of course you do. Of freaking course you do. Okay, so I want to do something with the time we have left. I want to do a little bit of like rapid fire. I do this with all of my guests. Yeah. Okay, so you're just going to like answer whatever I say. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So just whatever comes to mind. Okay. Like, what is your favorite food or a food that you just love? If you're like, oh, I could have this. I just love it, even if I don't eat it all the time.
Like a good burger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had those last night. Burger. Yeah. I think burgers for the fam. What about your favorite place to travel? Or if you could have unlimited budget, but it has to be spent on a trip, like what would you do?
Right now I want to go to Santorini, Greece.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, I've never been.
We're hosting a retreat in Greece for anyone who would like to come.
Yes.
That's it. Put it out there.
It is, put it out to the universe.
Yeah.
My dream has always been to travel the world.
Oh, me too.
And so I also want to go to Alaska. I want to go to Iceland. I want to see the Northern Lights. There's so many things on the list, but
our list is like so intertwined.
Yes.
So I also want to go to Thailand, Vietnam, and Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
That's like on my list too. Mm-hmm. Okay, what about your favorite holiday?
So I love the fall and I love Halloween.
Oh, lovely.
I'm a Scorpio. So
what is that? I never know what the signs mean. What is a Scorpio again? Look at me. I'm like a medium who's like, what does that sign mean?
So Scorpio is about death and transformation. Like that is what our sign is known for. Yeah. And so really growing up, I was around death all the time because if someone was dying or had died, I wanted to be there.
Yeah.
My grandma lived with us, or we lived in the same home growing up, and she had a ton of sisters, like older people, and so that's kind of why. But I like the dark and twisted. I do not like evil. It's very real. Yeah. That's not what I'm about at all. But I like, I don't know, I love mystery.
Yeah. Or sometimes you'll be like, oh, I just walked through the cemetery.
Intensity. I love cemeteries. I don't love...
In New Orleans, that's like extra. Because they're above ground and big.
I miss them so much. Yeah. I used to be in City Park and in the cemeteries almost every day. Just walking through being like,
there is something about them there. There is something about it that you can't describe if you haven't been there.
Yes. But Wayuka's super cool.
Yeah.
Especially if it had just snowed or in the pretty seasons. Wayuka's a good one.
Yeah. Okay, what about your favorite animal, or do you have a spirit animal right now, or animals that you love? You also have a kitty cat.
I have a kitty cat. He is a distinguished gentleman. He's so freaking cute. His name
he doesn't like me yet, but he will.
Finn Gumbo.
Oh, nice.
I know.
Of course it is.
And he's a little black and white tuxedo. I love cats. I love horses. I don't really have a spirit animal right now, but I have. And I do work with dragons.
Oh, nice.
So,
yeah. Yesterday I was on a walk in the woods and I had told my guides, I could really use a feather today. Just a little angel feather. Just give me a sign. And I do, I'll call specific signs. Yeah. Hey, even me, who I'm I can just do a download in an automatic writing session and connect, but sometimes you just want that, right?
Absolutely.
So I walk through the woods, I say it, and then of course, immediately there's a feather, within 100 feet. So I pick it up, put it in my pocket, and I do a little meditation in the woods, and I keep walking. And then on the way back, I started getting a little greedy. And I was like, I would like another feather, please.
I want to sign your sign.
I want to sign your sign. Give me another one. And I was looking down, and literally, this is this clear knowing we're talking about. It popped in my head, Kara, lift your head. You are in the woods. It's so beautiful. Stop looking for a sign. Yeah. And I lifted my head, and I kid you not, this giant monarch butterfly floated across my face and went over to the left, and I just knew to follow it. God. So I go and I look and I follow it, and this is just yesterday. And a giant owl, I am talking giant wingspan, swooped down and around and flew out of the woods, right in front of me. And I was it was just Spirit's way of saying, yes, stop looking so hard for a sign and just let them be in your awareness. And I was God, this is such a powerful message for people too, because I want this sign and I want it now. And you're white knuckling the request.
When you do that, you're blocking it from coming in.
Exactly. You're blocking the blessing, you're blocking the sign. So just it was just a reminder, just lift your head, let them be, let them come, however they're meant to come, Yeah. But when you get little goosies or a little something, it's your body's way of saying yes. Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love the head tingles sometimes that I get.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Just a little note. I know we're doing this. We didn't talk about the difference between psychic.
Yeah. Let's do that right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So psychic energy is pushing your energy out this way, kind of heart to heart, or your aura into someone else's aura, which we do all the time.
Yeah.
Every single person that is watching has walked down the street and felt super uncomfortable by someone else.
100%.
Whether they're across the street or not, you felt uncomfortable. That was their energy hitting you. Every single one of us has been at an event or a party and felt like someone has lit up the room. and everybody turns. It's their energy. They could be gorgeous too.
I always say your energy enters the room before you do.
Absolutely. So that is psychic energy. And in that, we can read past, present possibilities of the future.
That's a good way to see it. Possibilities.
Possibilities. Yeah. Oh, if someone tells you, like,
it's a for sure thing.
It's a for sure thing, run. Like, you don't want... Having a psychic reading is more about clarity and possibilities.
Yeah, and they'll show me, like, I was just doing a reading yesterday for somebody, and they were like, they'll show it to me and, like, let me see if I can even get to it. Like they'll give me like a 2 to 3, whatever, and then it's like, this is like,
that's Tyler. That is Tyler Henry right there.
Channeling looks like for me when I do readings for people. But it's like 2 to 3. I'm like, they're showing me like 2 to 3 months. But again, that's what they're showing me now. That may or may not be true, but they're showing it'll probably come in 2 to 3 months. Like, so like they will give me things like that, but it's always anchored in the like keep in mind you have free will and they're orchestrating and you're orchestrating. So it's never like a black and white guaranteed.
And then also they're giving us 1, 2, 3 possibilities or that many paths. But there's more.
Yeah.
And we can say, hey, these are the 2 paths I'm seeing. This one looks really like rocky, but you will succeed and you will feel so good about yourself and so proud of yourself.
Well, go be a rough road.
Yeah. But this one is smooth sailing. You're going to be bored to death. So which do you pick? And so it's up to you to decide. And so I feel like that's so important to put that responsibility back on the person and not say definites. And also my mediumship, my healing, my psychic abilities is to, as well as yours, is to empower.
That's
is
right.
to help
I don't want to
connect.
I want you to learn how to create your own pathway.
Absolutely. And so my intention with my guides is to give you this information for your highest and best good, for your highest and best timeline. So
that's right.
That doesn't look like me saying, oh, I see you getting in a wreck or breaking a leg.
Yeah. Well,
run from people that talk like that because they're just setting you up. Of course, that's going to be on your mind. Of course, like that's what you're going to create, and that's scary. We're not about that.
Yeah. So I want to dive into that a little and then we'll do mediumship. So psychic is like pushing your energy out into others, past, present, and possibilities. I really liked the way that you said that. But how do people know? This is a question I get a lot. And honestly, I think people find their way to me from referrals because I think one of my superpowers is I help people feel really safe.
Yes.
And I'm really good at explaining what's going to happen and helping. It's just making it not so scary. But some people sit down and they're like, I see a dark figure behind you and they're this and they're that. And it's not necessarily bad. It's just that their style of channeling is very like, and so like people are scared oftentimes. Right. So like, what advice would you give somebody who's like, how do I even know? Like there's good salespeople and unethical salespeople, and there are good doctors and unethical doctors, and there are mediums with pure intentions and mediums that often maybe will step into unethical pieces. So like how do you help somebody? Like what advice would you give them if they're like, I don't even know. I know I want to, but I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I definitely have conversations with them about how I work and how I create a safe space. I call in my archangels for added protection so that only that which is light and love can come through.
I do the same.
That's as far as, I mean, you need a book with us. I would say you're going to feel it.
Yeah, that's what I tell people too.
You're going to feel
if something feels off, trust it. Or if you are like,
or if you keep like not doing it, there's a reason you're not doing it. There's a reason you're not booking with that person. It doesn't mean that person's bad, but it could just not be right for you or right at that time.
Yeah, it's the same as like a coach, right? Like some people are like, I want my coach to yell at me and tell me what's up and be direct. Or like, I want my coach to like gingerly love me through it. Yeah. It's like, I think finding the right psychic or the right medium, depending on what you need, is also a little bit like matchmaking. It's like an energetic match.
So I will say this. So I recently had 2 like big groups. One that I taught, intuitive play, oracle cards. That was so fun. With little side note, with psychic ability, you can do just cold readings, right? Read the person's energy and kind of dive deeper. You can use tarot or oracle cards. You can use stones. You can use really so many different tools of divination to help out. So one of the groups, they Googled like Lincoln Psychic.
Yeah, they found you.
She was from Omaha and Googled Lincoln Psychic because her family was here, found me and reached out. I gave her the information. This was all through, social media.
Yeah.
And so she said, do you have a video? Because I have a lot of videos up. Do you have a video that talks about like, how you came into this, who you are? And I said, I actually don't.
Yeah, you're like, I don't actually have that.
But what I did is I did a voice note.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
And I gave her like a 5-minute voice note because sometimes we can't get on the phone with every client beforehand. It's just not feasible. Every now and then we can, but I gave her a voice note that just explained who I was. And she said, through my voice, through my time, through my explanation,
she felt comfortable.
She felt that's exactly what she needed.
Yeah.
So you're going to feel it, whether it's through the picture, like something you're going to feel off about, don't book. Right.
Or even if you're getting a reading and you're like, love it. Yep. Get it. That's tracking. They're tracking. And then like something all of a sudden doesn't track. Like I always say, like, don't take anything that doesn't feel aligned for you, or get curious about it. Does it not track because your fears blocked it, or does it not track because it just feels out of alignment? Yeah. I always say like, just trust that.
I agree.
Okay, then let's do like mediumship. So what does so psychic is like past, present possibilities, but then what is mediumship then? And maybe this is, people know this already because this is maybe one they kind of know, but not
everybody. So mediumship is us pushing our energy up, spirit coming down and blending. It's a blending of our energy and then the energy with the sitter. So the client is a sitter and it's a fine dance. It's a 3-way conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. And so psychics push energy this way or feel energy this way. Mediums go both ways. Not every psychic is a medium, but every medium is psychic.
Yeah.
So we're blending with the energy of spirit. Their energy is a higher frequency generally. Sometimes they're not.
Their guardian angels and guides are, but their loved ones are not always.
Sometimes they need to go. And we're bringing through validations. So going to a medium, you should definitely not hear questions right away. Okay. In my opinion, you want to go to someone who is going to give you the information and say, does that resonate? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's when you say, yes. Oh my
or
God,
no,
that's Uncle Bill. Or no. And don't be afraid to say no.
Yeah.
Some people are. That just means
you know
that
what my guides do, like their guides, like so I've told, like, this is just, again, this like language thing I have with them. They show it to me like a bobblehead and it'll nod up and down if it's right, or back and forth if it's wrong. And I was like, okay, no, it doesn't mean that. An olive branch, it does not mean you're meant to plant an olive tree. I don't know what it means, but it's not this. Like,
well, I'm so glad that you said that, because sometimes they will give us certain things, like you said, an olive branch. So
that's what yesterday the reading was.
Yeah.
It was like their grandpa, and I was trying to place this olive branch, and eventually we got there, but he was like, no.
Yes,
like,
I know. And
like,
so it's breathing and giving that time, but sometimes they show us something and we have to process it. So I'm seeing, and like, this is what I would say in a session, I'm seeing an olive branch, for me, that means that there's someone in your family that you really need to like put out your hand to. But sometimes it can specifically mean just an olive branch.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. You don't know if it's literal or figurative. Yeah.
And the person's like, oh my God. And then other times you say this and the sitter is like, no, that doesn't make sense. And I say, okay, we'll put that in the back of your mind. I'll have spirit bring it to me in another way, or
it just hasn't happened.
They'll bring it to you, which is an even better validation.
Yeah.
So you will know.
They'll tell, like, if they keep nodding their head up and down, I know I have it right. It's just that either the way I'm explaining it isn't tracking, or they're not meant to know it right now.
Right.
I was like, just plant it, leave it there. And if something comes up later, and I can't tell you how many times people will be like, okay, so like a week later or 2 weeks later, they're like, this didn't make any sense, and now it does. And you're like, yeah.
I had this, can I tell a little story?
Yeah.
So I had these two sisters who lost their father. This was years and years ago in New Orleans. And I'm like, he's showing me his wallet, and he keeps open. It's a brown wallet, like brown leather. He keeps opening it up. He's got a picture of you two younger together, and he keeps pulling it out and looking at it. He just loved that picture and he kept it dear. And I think there was like a coin, like some kind of unique coin in it. And he's giving it to you. And they're like, nope, we don't have his wallet. Yeah. Nope, we have no idea what you're talking about. And I was like, okay,
just let it be. But...
well, because sometimes, as a medium, you're like, you go back and you're like, why did you show me that?
I know. Like sometimes I'll be like, okay, Ben, what do you mean? What do you mean, Ben? Tell me. Yes. I do not get like, I'll say that in the reading.
Yes. And he goes, I'll bring it to them.
Oh.
And so I said, nice. Okay, just not even 3 days later, I get a call of total ecstatic, just so excited. Oh my God, you're not, these are the best. You're not going to believe this.
You're like, yes,
and I'm like, yeah, do tell.
I am going to believe it, but leading
in. Their uncle gave them their dad's briefcase randomly. Like, here, I have this. And their dad had passed like a year before. And this was just like a random, like they hadn't heard from the uncle. The uncle gave him the briefcase. In the briefcase was the wallet with the picture and the coin.
You're like, yes. Love it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So mediumship is about telling our sitters or proving in a way to our sitters by memories, validations of their loved ones that have passed, emotions that they carried, messages. Like you want those validations first so they know before you bring in a message.
Yeah. My husband asked me that. He's like, why do they keep saying like describing how they died or describing their personality or whatever? I'm like, it's just to validate it so that they trust the message that comes next.
And then sometimes, I love the fact that I'm a feeler, even though it causes a lot of issues, because if I go, oh man, I feel like I'm having a heart attack. Like you can physically see that. Yeah. And I'm like, oh man, your dad, like he's telling me this is the third one. My sitter physically feels that. And then sometimes either the way they passed or what happened around the transition, whether it was before or after, there's a significance in what you did to help them, or if there were words unsaid, or if there was a special celebration
or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, things like that. Yeah.
And so it's a very good validation. And a lot of times, like, if we're not supposed to get it, we're not going to get it. Yeah, because some things, like, people don't need to relive over.
100%. Right? It's always anchored with the intention that you and I both start with our sitters, like, for your highest and best good.
Yeah.
If it isn't, it won't.
Yeah. I think with this, we're so... we have to have such a delicate balance and very good ethics and morals going into this, which not a lot of people in the industry have. We're definitely out there, but just like doctors have to have good morals and ethics, right? Yes. So it's prevalent everywhere, but the way that we say things can make or break somebody.
Yeah, exactly. And so, it's like I take it so seriously what we do, like, which is why at first I was a little scared to do it. I didn't want to cause harm to anybody, but like spirit just kept guiding me with little things to do to show me like, actually, it's like really a magical thing that you get to do.
Well, right. And it touches that curiosity of, do we really go on? Yeah. Is there something?
Is there really life after this? Yeah, exactly.
And when those loved ones step into us and stand like their loved ones would stand, or talk to them like they would, there's no doubt in their mind, in our sitter's mind, that wasn't them.
100%.
And it just, that can really change the course of somebody's life.
Totally. Okay, so my last question for you: what brings you profound joy?
Ooh, what brings me? Okay. So, watching my son thrive is my biggest.
Yeah.
That's going to make me cry, y'all.
I love that. I love that for
you. And then doing what I do, being able to do what I do with every single session, whether it's connecting to loved ones or to their lives, empowering people. I walk away feeling so fulfilled. Like people are always like, are you drained? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I feel, I mean, some of it can be draining, but it just depends. But without a doubt, this is by far like the thing in my life completely that has brought me the most joy.
Love that. I love that. Okay, how can people find you? I will tag your Instagram.
Yes.
Is that like the best way to get in touch with you or connect with you or follow you, or what's your preference?
So my email, if you want to book, is brandymillermedium@gmail.com. And that's Brandy with a Y.
I'll drop it in the show notes too.
Yeah. I am on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Threads. I think that's it. Most of them are Brandy Miller Psychic Medium.
Love it.
Yeah, at Brandy Miller Psychic Medium. I like to do fun videos. You know, I'm getting y'all. That's a whole nother business.
Social media.
Jeez.
Learning the art.
And you know, I'm teaching a lot around here. I'm going to have some public classes soon, but I've been doing a lot of private groups. So if you're interested and have a group of friends or family members that either, you know, want mediumship or want to learn,
want a little class, want a mediumship,
and have already gone to this woman,
oh,
you know, if you want but we're encouraging of each other because we do things differently, you know, and you can learn and grow with variety
100%.
as well. And sometimes you want to be with just one person, and that's okay too.
Totally.
You know, I'm, you know, booking some really amazing energy healing. So that's for physical, mental, emotional, spiritual things that need to be addressed. And having some really great success with that. And then I do mentorships, like one-on-one mentorships. So
love it. Well, give me a little hug, friend. Oh, it was so fun having you. And
Thank
stay
you
tuned.
so
We'll
much.
maybe hopefully be doing some fun stuff together. So
Bye,
thanks for
y'all.
tuning in, everybody.
Bye.